Or dun, dun, dun.
All right.
Now it's recording. Okay, Gear Talk averted again. That happened for the first episode as well. Gear Talk averted.
Well, sometimes it
Because I was
happens.
talking to
Gear talk
Andrew about
averted.
I was talking to Andrew about Gear Talk, and then I hit record, which is what we just did for
What kind of gear does he have?
Steel's a gear episode. Though it's got lots of gear.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's all about gear.
by the way, are you hearing any weird ambient noise on my end today? That's usually hasn't been there recently.
Hold on a second. Actually, that reminds me I need to turn off my air purifier.
No, because I opened my windows and turned on a fan today because it's not that hot outside. But if it sounds
Uh,
noisy, maybe I should go back to air conditioner.
I can't hear anything, but full disclosure, my tinnitus is larger than some background noise,
it's prob
unfortunately.
it's probably I think it's because I'm plugged in directly to the mic, so I'm just picking up everything and before it filters stuff out. So
Yeah,
if I make a pop noise, I hear that, but you didn't hear me pop, right?
nope.
Okay, that's what the mic does.
Do you hear that?
No, no. So yeah, it filters things that aren't voices, I guess, is how it
Cool.
works.
Good job, Zoom.
Yeah. So
You're
I guess
welcome.
yeah. Okay. Dun, 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 dun.
Hmm.
I have the song, the Peter Gabriel song, Steam in my head, but it's Steel, which is stupid.
I don't know that song.
That's fine. I don't think you're a
I
Peter
was,
Gabriel. You probably
I
like
was,
the
I've,
You like some of the Genesis stuff. Well, do you like some of the Genesis
I
stuff?
don't
That stuff.
know.
So look up some like 1973 Genesis with Peter Gabriel. It has to on because he just wear insane costumes. He dress up like a wilted flower and sing the song expressionlessly. And it's
I,
like an
I,
8-part prog song.
I probably would like some of that stuff. I was just thinking of that. What is that? Iron Maiden song, Steel, Sword and Steel, or
Oh
something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, there you go. British Steel with Judas Priest.
Sunlight
Yeah.
is shining on your steel.
Okay, that makes more
Something,
sense because the
something
song
that
stuck in my head is Steam, not Steel.
is like we.
Watcher of the Skies. That's a good one to go for, a Genesis.
Hmm.
Vintage 70s performance. You don't want Phil Collins singing it.
Yeah. I was just re-listening to a Prisoner episode to see like I was like how far have we how much better have we gotten or worse?
Do we get better
And
or
it was
worse?
I think better.
Oh, okay. Oh, the other thing when you're watching the early Genesis stuff, because Phil Collins is drumming, you're like, damn, he's a good drummer, which he
Yeah.
is. You just
Yeah, yes.
when you start singing Tarzan songs and you're kind of like, screw this guy sometimes.
Oh, but I was gonna say it was an earlier episode, and I said something like, "I hope we get an episode where he's just screaming the whole time."
Oh, okay.
And then you said, "I think that is something that happens," and it did happen. So
Like
that's
five
cool.
times.
I was specifically thinking of that one towards the end,
And then he
but
started screaming in this show too. So I do hope that the Apes movies at least have screaming. I don't know about the show, but
yeah,
movies definitely that has some of the best known screaming ever.
yeah, yep, yep.
So we can
All
maybe we
right.
should have called it the Screamcast. We only do things with
Oh yeah, that's the well.
angry men screaming.
I guess I'm sure Planet of the Apes stuff will have screaming in it.
Well, like I said, Heston is that's like that's A class screaming. That everybody knows about that screaming. They don't, and not everyone knows about McGowan screaming and the prisoner. Not everyone knows about Landau screaming. Everybody knows about Heston screaming.
Yeah, you
Chat.
weren't even sure if Landau screamed all that much when we started doing that series because
He
I said
doesn't
I
as
remembered him screaming.
yeah. I guess he screams more. Well, no, he kind of died. He took it down a notch for a while in season two, but he seems to have notched it back up a bit.
It's just it seems just random. Like sometimes he decides he's gonna scream a lot, and
It's a
sometimes he
screamy
whispers.
day.
I like it when he whispers, but he's bad.
Mm. No, don't whisper. Whispering's bad. That's the wrong show, though. It's the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Okay,
All
let's do
right.
this. Let's do this. Welcome to time. Oh, sorry, I got a message right as I started my intro. I mean, I don't have to respond to it. It's just like I was like, welcome to, and then I hear so
Welcome
it
to time.
threw me off. I think you can audibly hear me get thrown off by that in yesterday's podcast, which was Devil's Planet, if anyone's keeping story. There's somewhere in there like a Facebook scared me. I was scared by Facebook. Facebook is
Not,
scary.
not like
Oh,
the planet scared
oh,
you.
bring the prologue, Rod's prologue up on your wiki or something. I should say that before
I
I
think
actually
I
do the
have
intro.
your notes here, so that
Yeah,
should
yeah.
be
It's I don't
on your
stick them in
notes.
my I don't put them in my notes anymore because I had like 8 glitches and was just like I quit doing it. I make the guest do it now. That's the guest job now.
There's a
Go
lot
to
of times on
go to wiki.
episodes. There's a lot of times on episodes where you'll be like, "Okay, hang on, I'm going to pull this up," and
Right.
then
That's why
wait a
that's why
minute,
it's
I'm
the
going to
guest
pull this
jobs
up,
now. And the guest
and then
job
it's
is to
gonna.
pull up wiki before we start the episode.
Oh, there you go. I did it. I
You
was.
did
It's
it.
here.
You've done your
Here it
job.
is.
Very nice. Okay.
Here it is.
Now I'll try starting the show again.
Okay.
Welcome to Time Enough Podcast. It's where we talk about all of the episodes of The Twilight Zone and beyond. This is Matt here as always. Coming back, it's Mark. Hi, Mark.
This is Mark here as sometimes
That's right, sometimes Mark. What are you at other times then?
not here.
Okay, that's true. Okay. Yeah, very on the nose about all this. Steel, let's see. This is one I'd heard about a lot but never seen. So I actually in my mind I thought we were going to see Rock'em Sock'em Robots for some reason because I had seen Real Steel like 12 years ago.
That's the twist. It's great. Twilight Zone is back, baby. This is a better episode than anything we saw in season 4. I mean, come on. It's great. The twist is the guy is named Steel, and then he fights. It's
Right?
just so nice and tidy. And
You
then he's just
okay.
like, he's
You like that.
destroyed at the end. He's destroyed at the end. He's like, we're gonna go get some more oil. And then that's
Well,
it.
see in
Watching.
1963 maybe you're like rooting for him a little bit like he can do it but now it's like no if you fight a Terminator you're going to get screwed up.
No,
There's
this is
no way
this
around
is
that.
a metaphor for everyone who I work with who thinks that they should really destroy themselves for the good of the company. And and the narration at the end makes me think that maybe Rod Serling doesn't feel like that, but I do.
Okay. Do you, well, you can do the ending narration too if you want. But we'll go
Okay.
for we'll
Yeah, I
trivialize this episode for now.
all right.
Um, I think I wrote this too late at night. I think my trivia might be snarky today. Let's find it out.
Yeah, why not?
Original air date was October 4th, 1963. If you've been following The Twilight Zone with us, the script is as Richard Matheson as it gets. He based it from one of his short stories with the same title. This episode is directed by Don Weiss. I think that's how you say his name. What'd he do? The Affairs of Dobie Gillis. He worked on some MASH. He did some Happy Days. He's all over the place, including The Twilight Zone. And I ad-libbed that because I forgot to write the director trivia. I could have gotten away with not saying that, but I have to be truthful with you folks, right?
You could.
Lee Marvin is back in the zone after accidentally strangling himself on his own cape in the grave. I don't think he did Max Dr. Feelgood Jacobson's meth cocktail, but he was most likely extremely drunk for this, as it's that period of Hollywood. M Squad, Paint Your Wagon, and The Dirty Dozen. Maybe I'm being mean because he was a hardcore Republican, though I did check to see if he was mean to his wives, and it doesn't seem so, other than he had multiple wives. No allegations. Always nice to
That's
see that.
yeah, way to go.
The
Truly one of the
poll
actors of all time. Anyway.
The poll in this episode was Joseph Mantell. We've already seen him in Nervous Man in a $4 Room, but his main claim to fame is from 1955's Marty, which won Oscars, including one for Martell as Best Supporting Actor. Battling Maxo was Chuck Hicks. Seems Chuck kept his nose to the grindstone, taking on tons of genre film roles in the 60s. I didn't write them down. I think I might have fallen asleep at that point. That happens
Wow.
sometimes. Well,
You should
fall
have gotten
asleep.
a robot to do it
I
for
should
you.
have gotten a robot to do it. That's right. Okay. Well, sorry if I missed a few bits on that dude. Or I could hit the reverse and see now I'm doing what I was trying to like not do earlier. Okay, which is like scrolling on air. Chuck Hicks. Let's see. Oh no, I didn't write anything because he didn't do anything interesting. Okay, that's why I wrote genre pictures. Hell is for Heroes, uncredited. The Third Day, uncredited. He's a Cool Hand Luke, uncredited. I think he's just an extra. So this might be his big
Hmm.
break as a robot boxer that doesn't talk
And doesn't box?
and doesn't
Wait,
box. Yeah.
yeah,
No, I guess he
okay.
doesn't box. He
He
breaks too
kind of
soon,
is an
doesn't he?
extra, isn't he? He just goes
Yeah.
boing,
So this is just like the most
literally.
glorified extra ever, which is kind of cool.
Okay. Yeah, he's a plot device. He breaks.
While I'm rambly, we were talking tech before we got to the episode. Are you hearing a cicada scream at us right now?
If I can't.
Okay,
No, I
good.
do not.
Just curious if Zoom picks that sort of thing up. What I want you to pick up
Mm.
is the prologue.
Okay, I'm gonna do something wildly inappropriate but appropriate at the same time.
Mm, 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 mm.
Sports item, circa 1974. Baffling Maxo, B2, heavyweight, accompanied by his manager and handler, arrives in Maynard, Kansas, for a scheduled 6-round bout. Battling Maxo is a robot, or to be exact, an android. Definition, an automaton resembling a human being. Only these automatons have been permitted in the ring since prize fighting was legally abolished in 1968. This is the story of that scheduled 6-round bout. More specifically, the story of two men shortly to face that remorseless truth that no law can be passed which will abolish cruelty or desperate need, nor, for that matter, blind animal courage. Location for the facing of said truth, a small smoke-filled arena just this side of the Twilight Zone.
I don't know. I suppose that's probably the fifth most annoying intro you've done.
Yeah, that was pretty annoying.
Yeah, but like, I mean, it's less annoying is what I'm saying than say when you wanted to be an old lady and stuff. Oh,
Well,
Chuck Hicks. Back to Chuck Hicks. He got. It looks
uh,
like he had a few. He kept working through the '70s and the '80s, and
hmm.
he started getting credited a few times. Slaughter's big ripoff. That's pretty awesome.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good credit.
That's a good credit. Let's see. There was a couple others. Oh, this is fun. He's a native son as White Man Number Four, and Johnny
I mean,
Dangerously. He's the governor. Dick Tracy. He's
wow.
the Brow. That's pretty cool.
And he made it to 93. And
Yeah.
Wikipedia listed him as a stuntman. Did you have that? That might explain why he's an
That explains why he's here, yes.
yeah, uncredited,
Anyway, you don't
uncredited,
even know about
uncredited.
Lee Marvin. Everybody knows about Lee Marvin. So
Yep.
you're learning
Is
about
this
Chuck Hicks today.
was Lee Marvin in a previous Twilight Zone, or is this his only
He was
one?
in the grave where he
Right.
where they were daring him to go to the grave at night or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and because they're like, you're gonna die, and like, nuh-uh, and then he does it, and then he gets spooked by nothing and
Like,
chokes himself to death accidentally.
yeah, like the witch lady. It was like the dead guy's sister. Is like, yeah, you'll die.
Yeah, but
I
we like
think.
the idea where he was actually just so stupid that this happened. Where he's not quite as stupid in this episode, like you said.
I don't know. Is he?
I'm bringing the question up because he kind of is, but he seems more noble. Like in the grave, he just seems straight up stupid. Here, like you said, if you're working too hard, maximum effort, then maybe you think he's making a good choice. Whereas you and I are like, no, you don't fight a robot that's going to crush your bones.
Your health is all that matters. You only have that. Like literally, it's like when people say at least you have your health.
Mm.
It's like that's all you have, really. Do not destroy yourself for anything, for any job. Um,
But we do. Oh yeah, I love when he's getting the mechanic to help him with it. Did you write down that quote? I wrote down that quote. You're gonna help me, or I'm gonna beat your brains out. That is a wonderful Lee Marvin quote.
he definitely says he threatens that guy more than a couple of times.
Yes, when Lee
I
Marvin
would have
appears in
killed
the
you.
Twilight Zone, he is a very stupid man, and he will kill you. I mean, I was
I mean,
rooting for him. I wanted him to punch a machine to death, which isn't possible. Which I guess is why that's kind of fun, I guess, in a nihilistic way.
I was just rooting. I wasn't rooting for anything. I was just like, this is playing out exactly like I thought it would.
I definitely love the weird makeup they put on to make him look like kind of like one of the Voxers, but it
Yeah.
doesn't work. Well, like you said, no one's really going to look that closely, right? Which is exactly what happened. Although he did
This
start bleeding out all over the place, didn't he? Someone probably noticed that.
I guess nobody did. Maybe it's just oil. It's
Did,
oil.
did he like have
Um,
oil in his pocket? Because he splatters on the mat, right? Isn't there like a splatter on? It's a black and white show, so.
I didn't notice the splatter. I didn't notice him bleeding until after they took him like back to the hideout, whatever it
Okay.
was, the hotel, I
I mean,
guess.
that could have been a previous oil splatter, as you said, so who knows? But
What if they take the fighting robots and pump them full of fake blood?
that's what they do with the Terminators, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is fun as kind of a proto Terminator without the dystopian hellhole part.
This is fun period. I mean, I had a great time with this because it is a simple 25-minute story that wouldn't have worked at 45 minutes. And I got the message, it's or maybe I got a different message than Rod Serling was trying to give me, but yeah, it was definitely this weird short compact tragedy.
I
And
did find it interesting that they're like it's 1974, but for some reason it looks like 1952. Like it looks older than the modern day of the Twilight Zone, which, because I
uh,
guess they're trying to give it that 40s like film noir look sort of thing, which is kind of weird though when you're doing a future story.
I put in my notes that the most dated thing and stuff like this is that people just assume that there will always be these like wise guys in hats, which
Mm,
that wouldn't even have happened in 74. There
yeah.
wouldn't even have been these guys are like, oh, I'm wearing a hat. See, I'm a sleazy man. See, you know,
Um,
um,
I spent so much time researching if Lee Marvin was on Max Jacobson's list, Dr. Feelgood's patient list, by the way, because I had recently watched Dateline Disneyland, the opening show for Disneyland. And
uh-huh.
the research there will show you that Bob Cummings, one of the hosts of the show, was almost certainly methed out for that
Oh,
special. So if you watch
oh
it,
boy.
and he's caught like canoodling with a stage dancer at one point too. Like the camera seems to catch him unawares. It's great because like
Wow.
20 minutes earlier you saw him with his wife and family, and then the camera's like catching him canoodling because it's a live
God.
show. It's a live broadcast with what like 23 cameras.
I'm looking at the list that in Wikipedia of his patients, and there are a lot of them.
There are a lot of. That's why I went searching. And Lee Marvin was on the list, but I think he just liked drinking.
Yeah, he has that look.
He's got that look in this
A
episode,
drinking
doesn't he?
guy.
Yeah, he's got that look. So I just got curious.
Yeah.
And he's just, I mean, it's just his legend, precedes him, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, great performance from him here against the robot. I'm gonna call it a robot because that's what Rod Serling calls it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've been going to robot recently. It's weird. Like a
Mm,
switch went in my head,
it's kind of good.
Maybe I'm a B7 now. Was it B?
So
Was B the right now?
yeah, there's a B2 versus a B7, except for the B2 was U2, meaning you human. I don't know
Hmm.
where I was going with that. You human AU
UB1, UB1, UB1
UB1,
human.
UB40.
Yeah.
No,
Red,
it
red
it
wine.
unintentionally did make me think about how like demolition derbies aren't very fun to watch anymore apparently because cars are worth too much, so nobody's like cars are worth too much, and apparently people who are serious about demolition derbies are like reinforcing their car with so much steel that it just makes it just nothing happens anymore. It's like we could have this, right? In today's society, we could have two humanoid robots punching each other, but we just choose not to.
Right? Is that the wrong choice? I mean, I guess
It
some
is
people
the
are into
wrong choice.
boxing.
We should have it. I mean, cool. Okay, yeah, BattleBots. Nothing against BattleBots. Shout out to what is that giant like thing that was dominating at BattleBots? It's like a giant scoop or something. Anyway, BattleBots are cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I mean, you're going
but
for the
but
robot battles, but I hang out with the the notorious Maddie, right? Who doesn't do our podcast, but we talk about him all the time. But he boxes. He sends me Instagram videos of him punching people all the time.
Okay. Wow.
Because he's a teacher. So if it's a
Like
student,
professionally?
I guess he could be called semi-professional, yeah, because he teaches and
Mm.
he occasionally does like low stake bouts, I guess. But yeah, but I regularly get him punching people on my Instagram. So,
All
I
right.
mean, some people really like boxing. They would not want to throw the sport to robots.
Well, you just have a different league, right? There's the featherweight league, the heavyweight league, and the robot weight league.
Well, the point in this episode is society has decided boxing is too violent, so we're using
Mhm.
robots now. And if you were a boxer, sorry, get a robot.
I mean, robots should be playing football too, right? Like CTE is a blight on society. I think
Yeah,
about all the
yeah,
people it's killed because somebody like went insane and killed their family. That's
yeah.
happened.
Or
I don't know,
professional
probably like
wrestlers, they're like 80 years
yeah,
old by the time they're 50.
yeah, and some of them have killed their families. I think, probably good 30, 40, 50 families have
Well, some
died.
people in the
Don't
Twilight
don't
Zone
look that
have.
up.
And go back to what was it? Walking Distance, Gig Young, Disturbing, Hollywood Babylon.
Yeah. Yeah, but wasn't that more drugs than CTE? Or did he
Oh,
hit his head too?
I don't think I'm just talking about celebrities who
Oh.
snap.
Yeah, CTE is a specific thing where you damage your brain. And I don't know, Herschel Walker, our, recent candidate for something,
What do
definitely
you,
suffered from that.
okay. Okay, I
um
guess have not actually heard of that. Was it cranium
chronic
traumatic
traumatic
experience?
chronic traumatic encephalopathy.
Oh, I wasn't gonna get the third word. I think I got the second word right. That's cool. And cranial wasn't the worst guess.
Yeah, but Chris Benoit definitely. The other football players, I mean, football players, some football players definitely have been suffering from that.
Hmm.
Maybe
I
OJ Simpson, who
Yeah,
knows?
I did find it. I've been reading a book on it's like the classic biography of Walt Disney. It's like the Walter Isaacson, Steve Jobs version of the Disney book, I guess. Came out in the 70s or whatever. But
Mhm.
it's talking about them, making the audio animatronics for the World's Fair, which would have been right about the time this was happening. So as they're working on trying to fix their busted up machine, I was just kind of thinking about, uh, apparently Mr. Lincoln would when he was a little late because the first few times he'd start doing the thing and then he'd start like glitching like he'd start like just convulsing and stuff. So Mr. Lincoln's giving the Gettysburg Address and then just starts convulsing. Like that
Oh
would
my
have been great.
God.
I mean, it's like they didn't have to fix that. You just put that in. But yeah, when they debuted the thing at the Illinois Pavilion, Disney base had to come out and say, folks, not ready yet. We're not going to show it to you if he's convulsing. But then it came out
So,
2 weeks later and was very popular.
I mean, like everybody, I'm very tickled by the obvious Hillary Clinton's face over Donald Trump.
What are we
You
photoshopping?
know, the Hall of Presidents. You look at the Donald Trump one,
Oh,
and it's
yeah,
obviously
okay. I guess
Hillary Clinton's face.
oh, really? I guess I've never looked.
Oh yeah,
I haven't been in the Hall of Presidents since the 80s, maybe.
I've never been to it, but you can see it on the internet, and
No,
it's
I've
pretty
seen it
obvious.
before. I'm just like it would be instilled more in your mind if you had been to the Hall of Presidents. So, but because the last few times, one, it's only in Florida, and the last few times I went there, that's like you got other stuff to do. That's not at the top of your list.
I don't
Well,
know if I
it's
would ever
probably the
go
top.
there.
It's at the top of somebody's list, but I don't want to go hang out with that person.
Yeah, it
It's at the
looks
top of Lee Marvin's list because he's a dedicated Republican.
good for him. I bet that
He
someone
wants
should
to see
put Hillary
Republican
Clinton.
presidents take their rivals and use their face as a mask for themselves. That's the ultimate dream.
I mean, if you take the side that his character did the right thing in this, then you're absolutely a Republican.
And
It's right. This is pull yourself up by your imaginary bootstraps and go in
get
there
beat
and
up.
punch that robot. You go in there and punch that robot, and oh my God.
The human spirit can kick him.
Yeah, you
It is
just
interesting
and
though because it's TV, right? On TV, you could easily you can have a fantasy on TV. We get fantasies in the Twilight Zone. The big tall wish, right?
Right.
Guy hits the mat and the little boy's wish makes him win, which turned out to be bad. But
Well,
um,
it wasn't this bad, was it? I don't feel like it was. He didn't fight a robot.
no, he didn't
Robot.
fight a robot. That's correct. Um, Now I came out of this being like it was okay. I didn't think the episode was bad. You came in like real hot from the start, like I loved it better than everything in
Yeah,
season four.
I
I'm sitting here
loved it.
thinking, I really liked the season four space episodes. So I like Death Ship better than this. Yeah, Death Ship did a little more for me for whatever reason.
I mean, Jack Klugman, you gotta love Jack Klugman, but I think
We just got him last week too.
I think I liked that better than Death Ship too. I mean, because it was mostly just a showcase for Jack Klugman just acting the crap out of his role.
Yeah, but
Whereas the
he
other one
was
was
yelling at people in Death Ship. That's great. So
it's true, but Death Ship didn't go as many places as it could have gone, I guess.
I
It
guess
was
I
like
just
it
want to
felt like he
stand.
was
I
the
want to stand up for season four a little bit. That's all I'm saying. There were a
okay.
few
I
in there
mean,
I
well,
quite liked.
if you didn't absolutely love this episode, that's fine. I love it because it was just like a tight narrative that worked, and I just really am tickled by the subversion of the guy is named Steel and not the robot.
Yeah,
And
yeah. That's
that's all it
that. It
takes
does
for me.
take you. It does take you a few minutes they have to do it like 3 or 4 times, right? And
I
then they're like,
figured it out
oh, here's
immediately. I
no, and
was
you
like,
figure it
oh,
out.
haha.
No, you figure it out immediately. You just can't
Yeah.
accept it immediately. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
has
and
they have to come steal 3 or 4 times before you accept it.
it's like those things. It feels like it would be something in like a really hacky science fiction movie where in the future everybody's named like Steel and Pole, and I'm Rivet, and I'm Girder, and I'm Screwdriver. Like
Oh yeah, that was the other
everybody's
thing.
named after stuff.
Now, Pole, it really did take 3 times for me to hear because I'm already working with steel, and then he's Pole. What? Paw? No, Pole.
I put in my notes right after that. I bet the robot is named some human name like Dr. Reginald Johnson.
Yeah, since he was being so mean to Pole, he should have been like, "You stupid Pole" at some point, you know.
That would not have been okay.
Well, it would have been okay because that's his name. It's not any kind of a slur towards anyone except for Pole, the
I thought that
person.
when they revealed the robot boxer, I said he looked like basketball Frankenstein.
Yeah,
Like the
that's
robots do look like Frankensteins.
no, that's why I
That's
was thinking because this is the public perception of what a humanoid robot would look like in 1963. And that's why the whole Disney thing was kind of like, oh, and they're trying to make him look fully real at the same time with 1963 technology. I mean, again, they're not boxing, so and now they're going to make Walt into a robot, aren't they? Hopefully a boxing one. Him and Mr. Lincoln can box.
yeah, I hope so. I mean, yeah, that would be great, right? If they had what is it, DARPA or something, took their humanoid robots and put like skin of famous people on them, sort of like AI deep fakes, and then punch each other. Like put a John Wilkes Booth robot in there with the Abe Lincoln robot, and then punch it out.
Yeah, why do it with CGI when you can build actual robots?
Yeah, we can. It's possible. Um, yeah, it's just that as a society we've gotten so we're not investing in like our entertainment and our love and our delight that we would get from actual robots punching each other, and we're just all doing this fake stuff for holograms or CGI or whatever. We can have robots fight each other. We should do it. It should be done. Demolition Derby with like 8 Cybertrucks. Let's go. I don't care. Do not reinforce them.
I was watching this and there's so many movies where it's like the pre-game and post-bout for boxing. And I'm like, I don't really know what actual boxing is like in that regard. The sport I know the most about pre-game and post-game now is weirdly sumo.
I mean,
Because when it's sumo time, Sunday, Monday nights, that's what's playing on TV when it's dinner time, right? And it happens, it's like match, match, match. So most of what you're watching is actually pre and post. But and in post, sometimes you get a crying sumo wrestler, which is always
oh boy, that sounds great. I guess the sport I've watched the most in the last few years has been wrestling, but it's more because I hang out with people who like wrestling. I mean, I like wrestling, but it's like it feels like kind of a chore to actually follow it. So when someone has a pay-per-view, I'm just like, okay, I'll go watch the pay-per-view.
But then the pre and post and that is like that's like
It's fancier, yeah.
it's way fancier, right? It's like scripted and stuff. They're acting.
I mean, it depends. Like the AEW pay-per-views, which is sort of like the, I don't know, the new kind of hot indie company. I guess they're not new anymore, but they do a lot more getting down to business, and a lot of their stuff is kind of more edgier or more edgy, and it's
Hmm.
also kind of sometimes kind of sillier in a good way.
Hmm.
It's like WWE takes itself really kind of seriously, but it also is kind of lame and cringe and like
Oh, see,
definitely.
sumo takes itself ultra seriously. Nobody gets to brag or anything. You won't fist pump or anything. Before the bout, they have a bunch of people walk out with banners for like rice seasonings ads, and then walk around the ring and then walk away.
I mean, that's fine because I'm not. The thing is, WWE is geared towards like middle America or something, and that's not really my culture.
Hmm.
I could say, oh, you're not American or something. But I'm like, I don't. I'm not like a basic. Like I didn't listen to Metallica when I was my entire childhood. It's like I'm not. I didn't grow up in that environment. I'm now people are probably mad at me who listen to Metallica their childhood. I'm not trying to say that it's bad. I'm just saying that it's not like
I listen to Metallica on the school bus, you bastard.
I just am not, I'm not of that.
You're
I
gonna
grew
love
up in
Metallica, or I'm gonna beat your brains out.
I grew up in a cosmopolitan area and have always tried to have the weirdest existence possible. And so at least sumo would be so far removed that it would be like interesting to watch it take itself seriously. But it's like,
No,
but
yeah,
it's
it's
like,
just it's just that's now the sport I've seen the most, which is kind of weird.
yeah.
If the bout lasts for more than 10 seconds, that's how short these things are. If the bout's longer than 10 seconds, chances are they're going to spend a fair amount of time just it looks like they're trying to hug it out.
Do people boo?
No, no, I don't think so. No, no, there are no
Okay.
heels in sumo.
I didn't know if people booed. I'm just curious.
Well, now that you're saying, and I'm pretty sure no one boos in sumo. I don't think I've heard people booing.
So
Um,
they definitely booed the old. That was another interesting thing about this episode is everyone was booing the robot that was old,
Stupid
and no
old
one.
robot.
We hate you because you have older equipment. Boo.
Mhm.
That was kind of
Well, if
that was
you're
funny and
current
also sad. Probably nobody thought about this who was making the episode. But like, man, that's really sad that like you show up with an older like you show up with an older Xbox controller to the esports and people are
Oh, I
booing
was
you.
gonna say
Nobody does
if
that.
you had a MacBook boxing an Apple IIe, you wouldn't boo the
I
2E.
suppose that makes a little. I was trying to make it make sense. That I guess that makes about as much sense as
Well,
my
I'd been thinking about
metaphor.
that metaphor while you were saying whatever you're saying before that. So
Well, you're not gonna. People aren't
I
gonna
work.
like look at your baseball bat and be like, "That's an old baseball bat." Boo. Then we could
Baseball
tell.
bats don't have giant leaps in technology, I think. Although, hey, what if you show up with a metal bat? Maybe someone's gonna boo your metal bat because it makes an annoying ping sound
You show up
instead of
with
a
a
nice wooden crack.
glass baseball bat. See how people like that. Like, that's right, you idiots. If I throw this into the stands, you're all ruined for life.
You can
Boo.
have a transparent aluminum bat
Yeah,
if you want to be
transparent.
nice. Looks like glass. People will flip it out, but
It's a glass baseball bat that's like really large and it's also full of like spiky spikes in it,
and
but it's also
whales.
full of acid. So whenever the bat breaks, it's gonna just like be a terrorist attack basically. So people have the right to boo that, but
Yeah, now you'd have a heel in baseball. Because I guess we've had heel. Do we have heels in
this
baseball? I guess we just have
yeah. Yeah, people
a-holes.
there's guys who people don't like.
Yeah.
But
A little
but
little different than a heel, I guess, but
but this shows you how much I don't care about sports because they're all boring. I like it. I need at least wrestling has something approaching plot twists. I'm sure sumo kind of does too. At least if the plot twist is just gravity, you know.
this has a plot twist. That's a guy out there.
Yeah, it is a guy, and everyone is too stupid to know. And the boxing, whatever, there's no
There-
boxing
no, he's too stupid to
technician.
do it. They don't care.
Yeah,
Nobody cares that he did this in the end, and he got what, $200?
they would probably boo him if they knew he was a person, I guess. I don't know. I wonder if they would be like, "Get out of the ring, you idiot," or if they would just be like, "Kill him,"
What's the
like they
price for
did.
getting your ass kicked? If someone wants to kick your ass, but they're going to pay you money, what's the going rate?
Oh God, dude, like $3,000. I guess maybe that's $200 in 1960 something. But
Okay.
like, I need to make sure that I can pay my medical bills or something if I get really hurt,
Mm.
right? I mean,
Yeah, you can fight back. It's like Schwarzenegger in his prime or something, you know?
like I broke my hand in a stupid fight defending somebody once, and it was like a minor injury, but I was like depressed for a month or two, and I don't know. I would, if I could go back in time and not have that happen, I would pay a few $100
Mm.
for that for
Well,
sure.
you just need enough money so you can go to Disneyland and see the robots in the Hall of Presidents
Then punch them.
and punch them. And then you'll owe more money. Okay. Um,
Maybe.
do you want to throw out any big observations on this one that you haven't hit already?
Well, I guess that might be the pratfall of me liking this episode because it's simple, is there isn't a lot to talk about.
Right. Um,
um,
I mean, my last note. So the point of this episode is watching Lee Marvin get his ass kicked? Question mark. But at least he didn't strangle in a cape this
yeah.
time.
I like the fact that the twist, I like when the twist is in a different place and the twist is just it's a man fighting a robot and the man's name is Steel, and there's no twist after that. There is no there are no surprises to me after after he makes that decision,
You know
which to
what?
me is kind of great.
I think me talking to someone about the Lee Marvin, I have to before I can't like these episodes because as we're talking about, I'm liking it more. I'm like, I think I have to talk to somebody about how stupid Lee Marvin's characters are. Because just watching it by myself, I'm like, he seems kind of dumb, but you got to talk it out with someone. And you're like, wow, he really is
Mm.
dumb. Like in The
Yeah.
Grave and this. Once you start breaking it down, and I'm not calling Lee Marvin himself dumb, he might have been, but yeah, because he has such a exudes so much cool. And you're like, yeah, but his character's an idiot in both of these episodes. So I'm kind of
Yeah.
landing back in that space.
And he is humbled, just thrown to the ground both times. I guess not as hard this time, but
Right. Well, he doesn't die this time. Which
but
makes me like the grave better, actually.
but if he had
In the end,
died, I don't know. If he'd had died in this, it wouldn't have been that
that would have been too.
satisfying. Then
Yeah,
it
that
would have been sadder. And you're in
right. No,
this, you're
he
just
should
like,
not. He should not have died in this. But, like in the grave, he's so stupid he got himself killed. Whereas this one, he's so stupid he got his butt kicked. You know, for
and
no
it's
particular
also
reason.
yeah, and it's also if he won, it wouldn't have been particularly satisfying. It would have been a dumber episode, and then
Yeah,
everyone would feel dumb. And you'd probably feel like, well, yay, the guy I'm rooting for won, but you would feel dumb probably.
he's not dumb in the Dirty Dozen, is he? I haven't seen the Dirty Dozen for 25 or more years.
I don't think I've seen it at all.
Oh, it's used,
Um,
that's one of those movies. Like I just mentioned, I recently actually watched Poseidon Adventure for the first time, but put that in quotes because it played every Sunday afternoon on Channel 17 in Atlanta in the 80s. So I'd likely seen the whole movie, but just I hadn't sat down and watched it beginning to end. And I guess that's where I am on the Dirty Dozen. It played on TV so much. I know I probably saw the whole thing at some point, but not front to back.
we had somebody who was the guest on Space 1999 who was in that, and I don't remember exactly who it was. But if somebody's yelling it out at the podcast, maybe.
Okay. Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
Dora Racer.
There we go.
She
Racing.
was in she was the interrogator in Devil's Planet.
Ah, okay.
So there you go.
Right. But that's not a connection of steel, so no one would expect you to come in with that trivia loaded.
No, but technically it does. It connects all of our podcasts together
Right, right. It's like
by
how the
doing that.
Pixar movies are connected.
Like we haven't had anything with Ernest Borgnine in it yet, but We will someday, maybe.
Sorry, I was just
Perhaps.
sitting there triple thinking about that. He feels like someone who would have been in a Twilight Zone, but I guess he hasn't so far. Or I don't know if he does.
He has 210 credits. I mean, geez.
He was a busy dude.
Yeah.
Uh,
What? Wait, one of his first credits was Captain Video and his Video Rangers
Same with Jimmy
from
Doohan, I believe.
1951.
I think
What the
Jimmy
hell
Doohan was
is
there too.
this?
Yeah.
It
That's the
looks
first
like
sci-fi. That's the first television sci-fi.
I didn't know the word video even existed in 1951.
Yeah, you had to have a TV. There's your video.
Okay.
Actually, that look up that etymology of the word. Maybe that's where video comes from. No, it has it's like Greek roots, right? It wouldn't work that way. I don't know.
Yeah, you probably went to the Videotorium to watch a wolf eat a man
Yeah.
or something.
Let's do some questions. Who in this episode goes in or through the Twilight Zone?
Oh, it's simple. It's Paul.
Okay, why? I'm
He
actually
watches.
I don't know if you're being sarcastic or not.
Nope,
No, okay, you're not. Okay, go
it's
for it.
him. Paul goes into the Twilight Zone because he watches this idiot do this stupid thing and he can't do anything about it.
Okay, because I was gonna go with nobody, but because I've
Yeah, that's
watched dumb people do
also a good
dumb
answer.
things.
Yeah, that's
Which
also a good
is
answer.
kind of the bummer is I think I said that last week as well. Uh,
Mm,
uh, so although Andrew pointed out that he does directly say that that the father and that was like learning things from a Twilight Zone. So sometimes Rod tells you, right? Um,
yeah.
Here, yeah, I mean, we do have to talk about if Lee Marvin's character, if Steele deserves it, but yeah, I think I'm laying on
Yeah.
nobody because we've made a relatively, I mean, this isn't like a whack future. This isn't like becoming young again, like in that one episode or anything. This technology isn't that far fetched, you know?
Yeah, and there's nothing morally wrong with it. Actually, that's kind of paints a better world than we lived in the 70s because humans still hit each other.
Yeah,
It's
I guess
like if
that's why it was
robots were
so
doing it.
weird to see the 1974 urban setting. It's like kind of like 1952 idyllic, you know? I mean, it's, you know.
I think that's just a thing where old equals sleazy. Like everywhere I've ever hung out that you would call kind of sleazy was always kind of dated looking. Did you ever go to Southern Comfort? I think you weren't here for that.
Okay, I'll say no then.
There
I
was
mean,
just a
my mind
trucker.
went to the Star Bar, by the way, if you're just like, when
Yeah,
you
that's a
started saying that. Atlanta
good
Star Bar.
example.
Yeah.
Pretty good example, but Southern Comfort was sleazier and older looking, and it was a trucker bar sort of south of 285, and they had like a thing in back where there were a bunch of slot machines that were technically not for gambling, but they also were for gambling, and a
Right.
bunch of like crappy pool tables, and there were mirrors all over the wall, so it looked like it was twice as big as it actually was. And you basically could only get two kinds of beer. I think it was like Yingling or Miller Lite, and that
You
was it.
want Yingling? What kind of a
It
Ooh,
was
I
the only
want a
place.
Yingling. It's from a different part of the country.
It was the only. It was the only
You
place
drink
I've ever
Miller
had
Lite.
the steak fingers, which I think was sort of like chicken fingers, but it was steak.
I went to a juke joint once in rural
Yeah,
Georgia, and the only thing they had was Miller Lite. Maybe I haven't
yeah.
told this story in the podcast. We were staying at a hostel near Brunswick, Georgia. It's near the coast, and part of the
Oh,
deal for the hostel being on that land was there was something about it where they had to take this lady to the juke joint every week. It was like this 90-year-old blind lady, and so anyone want to go? So we're like, yeah, sure, that sounds interesting. I can go to a juke joint because it's usually you couldn't just walk in as well, a white person, but in this case, you're bringing like one of the town's legends in, so everyone's like, yeah, you're cool, you can be here. So
hmm.
and we sit down, and yeah, the only choice is Miller Lite, uh, and
Well,
she starts doing toasts that would make Rudy Ray
interesting.
Moore blush.
Hell yeah.
They were the dirtiest
Mm,
things I've heard in
that's
my
great.
life.
That's fantastic.
Like kind of older style, like they were like Irish toasts, but through the through the rural Southeast Black African American experience, and then just like wow, unfiltered. It was wild. So that was a crowning moment of life.
Awesome. Hell yeah.
But yes, yeah, that place looked when we were in there, it was basically a shack and it looked like it was 1957 in there, you know?
Hmm. Yeah, that's how it goes. And, R.I.P. Southern Comfort is a victim of everything. Everything has been closing here
Yeah.
gradually.
Well, and
We're
then
losing
people
me.
open
We're
new
losing me
things.
Barrio. Yeah.
Of course, you're telling me
um,
places that didn't exist when I last lived in Atlanta. So I was there, what, 3 iterations ago?
yeah, you missed some. I mean, Southern Comfort was there. Maybe we didn't know about it when you last lived here, but
Okay. Uh,
um,
what we're talking about who's in the Twilight Zone? How do we get to that? Question
Poll.
two. You poll. Okay.
Oh,
Poll.
does nobody deserve to go to the Twilight
Well,
Zone?
let's talk about Poll first. Does Poll deserve to watch a stupid man do stupid things?
Uh, yes and
Sure.
no. Yeah, sure. That's one of those things where it's like, do I want to blame somebody for still hanging around somebody who he shouldn't be in business with?
Hmm.
Yes and no. I It's almost 50-50, but yeah, we'll just go yes.
I do like the the front man mechanic dynamic. That's kind of fun sometimes. Like I'm thinking about Two Lane Blacktop. Have you seen that movie?
No.
I forgot who the star is. I think it's somebody notable, but Dennis Wilson's the mechanic, so he's like in the back
Hmm,
of the car through most of the movie. Uh
okay.
yeah, and it's
It's
like
I like all the tech talk makes this feel like a real thing, and also like the music when they're
that's
activating the
also what
robot is really,
that's
really cool.
also what Two Lane Blacktop has. It has all the tech talk for
Uh,
about car stuff in this case, but
yeah.
I think the music's reused. I didn't check, but I had a feeling it
Hmm.
was from The Four of Us Are Dying, maybe. It was kind of that jazzy
Hmm.
score.
Well, there was like that music that played when they were testing the robot out was like did it was like creepy violin music.
I still think that might have been The Four of Us Are Dying. I might be
It
this
could have
is
been.
me going strictly off the dome, so I'm not sure if that's right or wrong, but I'm just trying to get an ear
Hmm.
more for like since we've been doing this and Space 1999, I'm trying to like get my ear more primed for stock music. Like, now I know where that came from.
It's funny because I'm technically a music guy or whatever, but I never like you
Same
guys
here.
always have that. You guys always have an ear for what's from where, and I just
Right,
never do that.
same here. So then, especially in
I
terms of the shows I'm covering in podcasts, I'm trying to be a little bit
yeah.
more like things I watch for fun. I'm still not paying attention to that, but for the Twilight Zone, I'm, doing a little ear check because I think it just says featured music by on here. Featured music by Van Cleve. Okay, no, that's not from The Four of Us Are Dying then because I
Mm,
think that was Jerry Goldsmith who did that one. So,
yeah.
failure on my part. At least I caught it on air.
Boo!
So
Kill
people won't
him.
tell me later. Kill Lee Marvin. What do you think? Did he deserve to get pulped by a robot?
Yes.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
Hmm.
Uh,
I love Lee
it
Marvin.
was
His characters are stupid.
sure. No, yeah, but this the thing is you can love a guy and be like he did a great job of acting that out
Right.
that
I mean,
tragic
do I
death
want Lee
out.
Marvin in the actor in my kitchen? Probably not, but yeah.
Hmm. Well, Van Cleve has done 31 episodes of the Twilight
Oh, he
Zone, so
does.
it could
He's
have
done
been
a
from a
lot of
lot of
Twilight
it.
Zone, but he didn't do The Four of Us Are Dying, which is what I was trying to connect it to. So
Yeah, it could be from a lot of things.
it could have been from a lot of things. So if someone wants to tell
Mm.
us the correct answer, feel free. I just wanted
All
to
right.
throw out there that my wrong answer was wrong. That's all I'm saying. I want to claim
Yep.
my wrongness. I don't. I can't claim any rightness.
Good job.
Why, thank you.
You did better than Steele accepting that he shouldn't punch a
Steel.
robot.
So yeah. Um, on the tripometer, I'm gonna make you tripometer first because I have a pretty fully decided number and explanation.
I am I want to rate this higher, but I'm gonna have to give it like a 1.8 because the trippy thing is robots exist, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. I was given it a 2, a little extra because those faces are so weird looking on the robots. And then when they try and
Yeah.
make Lee Marvin kind of Steel, when they kind of make Steel look kind of like a robot, he looks really, really bizarre. It's like they're trying to like get him ready for like I don't even know. It's a weird look.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I this sounds dumb, but I feel like I've given a lot of episodes a 2, so I just wanted to go a tiny bit lower.
Okay.
And
Well, I
that's my
feel
main impetus
see
for
it. We're
that.
2 episodes into season 5 though, and I gave last week's episode 1.5. I gave this one a 2. I mean, next week is Nightmare at 20,000 feet. I think that gets a
Mm.
really other than not a 5. I'm pretty sure that one's not getting a 5. Spoiler, but
Yeah.
I mean, as a
Well,
quality
spoiler.
rating, sure, but I'm just on tripometer. That's what I'm saying. You can give Steel a high quality score and just be like, well, it's not that trippy.
Yeah, that's as always, it's not a but mild spoilers. I have started selecting episodes after this, which I'm glad I got this one. You gave me this one, but the one that I've selected that I'm up for first is trippier than this.
Okay, there we go.
So,
By episodes at this point, you mean one, but that's fine.
well, yeah, I mean, but I was like,
You're allowed to ask for
I
more, of course.
selected something that is a little further down intentionally because I was just hoping to get to it before somebody else did.
Right.
But,
And you did, yay.
yeah, yeah, and it is trippier than this, and better. And so I'm feeling, mostly optimistic about season 5. I know there's a couple of clunkers, but you
All
it,
right.
it's
I
good
guess
to feel like the show's kind of confident again. It's like just in general, it
there
feels
is some
like
confidence. That's nice. So we're bringing back, like our ringers as guest stars or as stars, I guess. Never everyone's a guest star in the Twilight Zone. But
yeah.
yeah, we're bringing back a few ringers. We're making sure we're giving you we're not just giving you a new writer here. Rod got a couple of months off, I guess. Well, he might have been
Well,
teaching, but
I was gonna say that is one thing is that he does seem more tired in the opening narration.
oh, in general, I believe he is. Isn't he like drinking coffee in it or something?
Yes.
Maybe that's why you thought he was tired.
Well, maybe he was tired. Maybe he just was. Maybe he had to record 8 that day, and this was the last one he recorded. Who knows?
Oh, you know what? Actually, before we wrap it up. Go ahead, read the closing narration.
Should I read it as a robot?
And just read it as you because we're going to talk about why you don't agree with it.
Okay, good. Portrait of a losing side. Proof positive that you can't outpunch machinery. Proof also of something else, that no matter what the future brings, man's capacity to rise to the occasion will remain unaltered. His potential for tenacity and optimism continues, as always, to outfight, outpoint, and outlive any and all changes made by his society, for which 3 cheers and a unanimous decision rendered from the Twilight Zone. I feel like that's missing a word.
Maybe. But yeah, I'm sitting here thinking because I heard that and maybe I just already decided he was stupid, so I didn't hear
Mm.
what Rod said completely because
I noticed immediately because I was like, I thought the moral of this episode period was like, do not put yourself in a situation where you put yourself in harm's way for $200. Just don't do it. But also it's a weird swerve because so much of Twilight Zone is people being punished for overreaching or trying too hard or trying or you know what I mean? Like it's okay, I understand maybe you don't want to just come in and be like, witness an idiot who punched a robot and then fell
he
over
said
and
things like
died.
that before.
Yeah, you'd be like, witness this boob. He's
He's
called
done that.
people really mean things in intros and outros. What if Lee Marvin made him do that? Listen here, you got to make me look good, Jack. I'm just assuming he talks like that. But,
When I was watching the episode, I wrote in my notes, oh, well, once you've gotten the tar beat out of you, maybe you've reached the end of your rope. And then I kind of decided that's what Rod was saying too, but that's not. So I had like
nope.
confirmation biased myself, it seems. So it's like, yeah, of course, I'm
Well,
sure Rod's saying what I think. Um,
I think that this is the real answer is that you chalk it up to they needed to put a bow on it, so they put that bow on it. There was what was the episode we did a couple of seasons ago that I thought was kind of stupid. The one where it was a dream and he had a different wife.
that's been a few episodes, kind of.
You know what I'm talking
The
about, where
different
he
wife,
woke
yeah,
up
yeah,
in his
yeah.
dream. I was just like, they needed to write themselves out of it, so they just
Mm.
wrote themselves out of it. I think that is the answer here.
This is kind
Is
of interesting. I didn't put this in my trivia, but I'm looking at it now that I, sometimes we find the current event that actually informs the Twilight Zone episode, right?
mm-hmm.
So apparently there had just been a lot of boxing deaths around this time. At the time, the sport was mired in controversy after Emil Griffin killed his opponent Benny Parrott in a nationally televised and particularly brutal 1962 match. with Parrott's death at Griffin's hands, as well as the death of Davy Moore from a neck injury sustained in a March 1963 contest. The specter of the sport being outlawed was a realistic possibility at the time of broadcast. So,
Huh. Excuse me.
so people were
Well,
getting
that-
their butts kicked in the ring, which I guess
That
I
makes
guess
sense,
I guess they
right?
have, maybe how do you fix it? You have better doctors around? You have, I don't know.
You
There's
don't do
different,
this.
yeah, there's gotta be different regulations.
The hard answer is, if people, when people ask me what do I believe will be the future, what 50 years from now, I believe that football will eventually be outlawed.
Well,
But
that's what Rod was saying here, right? And that didn't happen.
that's the thing, is that just because I believe football will be outlawed doesn't mean it'll actually happen, because people have, and maybe that's what his ending narration is.
You're
It's
not a
just
fan of the
people will-
pigskin.
People will find a way to do stupid things like box, no matter how stupid and illegal they are. If they outlaw football, then people will play football in like private clubs.
Oh, see, would that have been a better show? I don't know, better show. A different show could have been like robot boxing, it's just like what's on TV and stuff. And well, then you got Fight Club, I guess. You're making Fight Club in 1963, underground boxing rings.
I mean, you could make a lot of different stories with. You can make a story where it's like robots fight each other in a club, and one guy in dresses up as a robot because he thinks he's so cool, but then he fights his way through 3 robots, and the 4th one kills him. There's a lot of interesting stuff you could do with that.
Androids have taken over and they're making the few remaining humans box each other.
Yeah. Or it's something like someone is in an underground fight club run by a robot, and where humans fight each other, and then the robot makes him fight. Like the robot who runs the club fights the guy at the end.
Where's the loser's face? Okay.
2 men enter, 1 man leaves in pieces.
Right.
Whatever.
1 man leaves with his face on a robot now.
Yes, exactly. Terminator Salvation. No, that didn't actually happen, did it?
I think that did happen in Genesis, kind of.
Yeah.
Maybe. Well, I've seen both those movies exactly once, and that was the last time I saw them in my life. I mean,
They're
including the future, most likely.
the only Terminator sequel I've seen more than once was 3, and then the second time I saw it, I was like, oh no, actually I don't like this.
I listened to podcast commentaries on those, and I didn't rewatch them. I was like, I'll just let these people talk about it. I'm not watching it again. It's fun to listen to people talk about it, but yeah, I don't want to watch those.
Yeah, well, if you want to hear us talk about Terminator 2, then you can tune into Films and Filth in the year of not very soon. I'm like trying to pull up the list real quick.
Sometime this decade.
Oh Lord. 2020, let's say 2025, probably. But also
6.
Other things. 6. Right after Glitter, which I'm more looking forward to. Anyway, you can find us and of that podcast and other podcasts like Luke Loves Pokemon, Tyrell Field Report, Cult Disney, Podcast 1999, Podcast 2000, Podcast 2001, Podcast 2002, Podcast.
There we go. Okay.
Patreon.com. You find my dumb jokes at patreon.com/podcastio. You can help us out with server bills. You can listen outtakes. You can listen to podcasts like Podcast 2004, 2005, 2006.
Right. And others. Okay.
Go.
That's my fault because technically it's my job to do this on this show. So
yeah, I know.
I have to take whatever I get. So
well, at least I didn't do it in the robot voice, right?
Yeah. So how much we're gonna have Dwayne the Rock Johnson now in 2024 fight you? How much are we paying you?
You're gonna pay
you
me.
Can take on the Rock.
You're gonna pay me $10 million, and I'm gonna bribe him $9 million to take it easy on me.
Come on, that's chump change to him. He owns the world. Probably
okay,
not.
$8 million. I mean, does he want $8 million more than he wants to like not hurt me?
Hmm.
Wait, more than he wants to hurt me? Probably. Did in this scenario did anybody like tell him anything?
No.
Didn't tell him
They
anything that
they
I
told him
said.
he slept with his wife.
Okay, he gets $9.5 million.
Okay, that seems
Oh,
like a
that was
place to stop.
fun. Yeah.
Steel. I haven't started Spice World yet, but it's not a long movie, is it?
God, I haven't either. I just started. I just started it and it played a song from the album Spice World, and I
That
was
makes
like,
sense.
that's a good song. And
132. Okay, it's normal movie length. It's Home on the Range. I have to watch that tomorrow night. How long is that?
the fuck is that?
116. That's nice.
Is that Disney?
It's the last hand drawn. I mean, still has some CG, but it's the last hand drawn they did before they did Princess and the Frog, which was like, we're doing it
Oh,
again. And then they made that. They made Winnie the Pooh, and then they're like, no, we're not.
huh. I mean, does anybody do hand? Is everything technically CGI now?
Japan.
Japan does Japan draw?
Well, I mean, I'm sure there's lots of computers involved, but Ghibli
Yeah,
films still have the hand drawn look. Most animes still have the hand drawn look, even if they are using
yeah.
computers.
I guess Don Hertzfeld is still doing it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. American does any? What's that Lord of the Rings cartoon that just popped up? That looked pretty hand drawn ish.
Looks great. Actually, I'm like kind of excited for it.
I've just seen stills. I'm just saying it looks hand drawn. It has a hand drawn look, right?
Yeah, it looked good. I mean, it doesn't mean it's hand drawn, but it looked good.
No, that's what I'm saying about the anime stuff. I'm sure they're using tons of computers, but it has the hand drawn. The style is still of hand drawn. What was I oh
Hmm.
yeah, I was listening to people talk about the Peter Pan, the new Peter Pan ride in Fantasy Springs, where it's like, they have the 3D animation on the screen parts, but it's Peter Pan, so they had to give it this like papery look still, which sounds interesting.
Hmm.
And apparently that's a Transformers Spider-Man style ride, but it's nicer to you. It doesn't, I guess, jolt you so much. It lets you
Yeah.
fly because it's a Disney ride.
Yeah, I wish I wish I hadn't rode that stupid Harry Potter ride that made me puke, but um
And then
made me scared of everything else.
and I thought they had just like remade the Frozen ride because Florida, they turned Maelstrom into Frozen, right?
Yeah,
But they
which
actually
I've
they bling the crap out of it in Japan. It's like it's the same set basic narrative flow, but it's a different ride. I mean, it's still a boat ride that turns backwards at one point, but everything has just been like blinged out.
well,
Watch a ride through of that. It's insane. The animatronics are
hmm.
insane.
I've heard that the converted Maelstrom is really good, and then it's one of those things where I've also heard the redone Splash Mountain is like really better than it has any right to be or something like that.
But it keeps breaking apparently. Like it
Ah,
just keeps going down. So
that
that's I
sucks.
think they pushed the Disneyland opening back a little bit to hopefully not have that happen there.
Well, a
We
hand
still got
drawn,
Splash Mountain in
yeah.
Japan.
There's still a hand drawn. I'm looking at the list of all animated films, and I guess when it says traditional, it means that it's hand drawn. So
Okay.
there's
But that doesn't
The
mean the
new
process they're
Watchmen thing.
actually using is hand drawn. I mean, I'm
No
somebody
idea.
Hertzfeld. I bet Hertzfeld's still doing it,
Oh
right?
yeah,
But
Hertzfeld's doing it. I mean, why? That's his whole thing. Why would he not? Why wouldn't he do that?
right, right. But and other people maybe not.
So yeah, I guess that Lord of the Rings movie is hand drawn. It's directed by Kenji Kamiyama.
Oh,
Let's
so
do
it's
my
actually
trivia
going for
voice.
it's supposed to look anime-ish then.
It is, yeah, I think it is hand drawn.
Again, I've just
It's
seen
like
stills of it, so I don't. What is it called?
what? It is called. God damn it.
The War of the Rohirrim. Sorry, I don't know how to say
Yeah,
that.
War of the
Oh yeah, it's okay. Now
Rohirrim.
I'm looking at a still right here. Now it's extremely um what?
It's a
Wait.
Ghost in the Shell guy, like Ghost in the Shell series guy.
Wait a minute. What am I looking at?
But
This isn't animated though. It's animated, but why am I seeing live footage?
maybe you're
Okay.
seeing a different Lord of the Rings because there is like
Maybe.
a series.
Yeah, I know. I'm just on the page. Okay. Anyway, whatever. As we all as I'm notorious not a Lord of the Rings fan, but yeah, she looks like
Hmm.
Princess Mononoke here.
Yeah, he's this guy worked on a bunch of this Ghost in the Shell series, which mostly are like police procedurals.
Ooh, a gallery of child stars. Then and now, I bet that could get quickly depressing.
The first thing I saw that was hand drawn is the Avatar Last Airbender movie sequel that's coming out soon, which is interesting.
Sequel to
2026.
what?
The series.
Okay.
I think it takes place after the series. If
Okay.
you haven't
Sorry,
watched the series yet.
you said movie, so
Not the it's not related to the M. Night Shyamalan movie.
I just
It
thought it'd be
is
funny if they made a sequel to the M. Night Shyamalan movie that was animated. That would be like such a fuck you.
But that sounds like if that was liked at all, that sometimes when people like things, they're like, well, we did a sequel to it, but it's a comic book or something like that. But
Oh
no
no,
one liked it.
the humor is completely the fact that that nobody wants it.
Oh, there's a new Megamind movie coming out.
Look at the rating on
Is it
that.
another one? Is it another one of
Look at
those?
there's a TV show. Yeah, no, they're all like,
No, it's not out yet.
oh, okay. I don't have high hopes since it sounds like they shit the bed on
Oh no, it
Megamind
just came out. Well, okay, never mind.
and everyone hates
It
it.
might be the one you were thinking of that everyone hates.
Okay, it doesn't even have like any of the voices.
Yeah.
I mean,
Who is the voice?
I wouldn't
Is it
expect
Dan Castellaneta?
David Cross, Will Ferrell,
Hmm.
Brad Pitt was a voice, and I think Tina Fey did the. I mean, obviously these are people that aren't just going to do some podunk series, but if you say actually made a sequel, you might get some of those people. You could not
I
get
know
Brad
that.
Pitt, you'd be fine. He was, you don't need Metro Man in a sequel.
Well, there was something involving Inside Out where I think a lot of the cast got lowballed and were replaced for the
Ah,
sequel of that. I mean, people. I think they had people who became famous later, and they're just like, I don't remember who it was, but I didn't really think that Inside Out 2 was as good as the first one, even though it did really, it was very successful.
yeah. Well, that's kind of what I heard. People being like, "It's fine, but it's not good."
I think it's pretty similar in quality to like Toy Story 2 versus 1, where it's like a little bit of a step down, but not like a major one.
I don't think two's a step down necessarily. Let's see. Amy Poehler. And look at the original. Bill Hader, Lewis Black, Millie Cowling, Richard
Like
Kind.
Lucas Black came back, but I think yeah, Richard Kind did not. And
Mindy Cowling's busy with politics or something now.
I think it was just a pay cut thing, or not a raise, or one of those.
It
I
might
think
be that because I'm just saying that because I just see Mindy Cowling was like emceeing at the DNC or something. So
I don't know.
okay, they got Amy Poehler
Good for
back.
her, I guess. Yeah, I think they kind of had to get Amy Poehler back.
They
Like she
did
was,
they did recast her, so maybe she is more doing politics now.
I think it was more about pay than politics, but
Lewis
because like
Black's
how hard
back.
is it to record voice for a animated thing, really?
They must have lowballed Bill Hader.
Yeah,
Because
that was part of it too.
well, of course, I'm just saying that because I haven't seen him on any political stages recently.
Why were Bill Hader and Minnie Kaling recast for Inside Out 2?
7.7
I'm having to scroll
on
way too far
IMDb.
for this.
8.1 for the original.
Yeah,
I haven't seen any Pixar's recently.
Oh, they were offered 2% of what Amy Poehler was offered.
Oh, ow. Okay, that makes sense. No, well, one reason I'm not watching any Pixar movies is you can't see them in Japanese theaters unless you want to watch them dubbed in Japanese. So I'm not seeing them in a theater. I
Yeah.
guess my Hana's old enough. Like it's not like let's throw in the new Pixar, and I guess I'm gonna watch them all eventually anyway. So it's another. I'll be watching them in like 2027. I just got a request from someone. It's like, hey, can I do Zootopia? I'm like, it's gonna be a while, but sure.
Yeah, Zootopia hit weird when I watched it because I watched it right at the beginning of the pandemic. So it was kind of like right when Black Lives Matter we're not, like a lot of the protests were
Yeah,
happening.
yeah.
And that was kind of
I saw it 10 times in 2016. It's like that
it
was
was
that
kind
one
of a
got
like,
played a lot.
it was kind of a like, well, actually, what if the oppressed class of small animals is actually also bad? So that's how it came across to me. I don't know, but that's just, the climate at the time. It's not
Well, I
like it
haven't.
wasn't good.
The last time I saw it was probably like 2016 or 17, so it's been a while since
Yeah.
I watched it. Um,
It's not like it wasn't good, but it was
no, it's I didn't.
the politics felt a little iffy at the time when I watched it.
I was happier seeing that many times than say Tinkerbell and the Pirate Princess. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I
Really good.
guess I'm gonna hang this one up for now. So
All right.
goodbye to all those people still listening to us
Cool.
talking Pixar talk for the Pixar Talk podcast. There's plenty of those.